Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining our speed roller session. First one for the new financial year, which is very exciting. And we are super excited to introduce Fusion tagging, something that has been in the works for a very, very long time. As some of you on here will probably know, you've been instrumental in the development and the shaping of it. So without further ado, we're already a couple of minutes behind, but I'll get into this. I'll show you how the tagging system works, why we should use it, why you should sell it to your customers, or if you are a customer, why you should be either considering upgrading to a pro license or just implementing it on your system. And then at the end, we have some time for some questions. But at any point, please do use the chat feature within here and make sure it's sending to everyone, and I'll be able to see that come through, and hopefully I can answer it as we go through this little speed roller session. But let me just share my screen and then we can get on with it. Perfect. So Fusion Signage tagging. Why should you use it? What is it? So the tagging system is really designed for customers who have quite a few screens. And by that, I mean potentially more than 20 screens, but really it's those situations where you have different content that needs to be sent to different screens. So if you say you've got these 7 screens that you see right here, and every one of these screens requires different content, at the moment with Fusion Signage without tagging, you would need to create a separate playlist for each and update each of those 7 playlists independently. So while that's fine with a couple of screens, as soon as you start to get 20, 100, 1,000 screens, it becomes quite problematic when you're managing 100 or 1,000 playlists. You're just not going to be able to do it. So the tagging system we built was essentially just allowing you to use one playlist or a few playlists and then put some tags on the screens and then use a tag rule builder in order to determine which screens that content should go to. This means that you could have one playlist assigned to 1,000 screens, and all 1,000 screens using our tag rules could be displaying different content on those screens. Very, very exciting. In the future, we do have some ideas in the designer around using our tagging system and location-based geographic data in order to, again, change the content based on dynamic content coming through, perhaps from point-of-sale systems, for example. But anyway, in its current iteration, let me show you how the tagging system works. There's 2 different ways that we can get tags onto the screens. So in here, we can click on a screen name, and under here, under the tags with your pro license, you can click on this, and now you can start to add your tags in. So there's no limit on what the tags are or what they're called. It really just comes down to your customer or you and as to what you want to call this. And the best way to think about this is what are my unique subsets of content, or how do I want to differentiate my content on the screens? So as soon as I put a tag in here, I can then build a rule that says only play if this screen has this matching tag. So for this one, I've got the name here, and I've conveniently named my screens according to what the tags are just for simplicity, but it's a New South Wales screen, so I've got a New South Wales tag. But let's say I want to add in a promo as well. So I can start typing, tag doesn't already exist, and then I would add that tag in. I've previously deleted it, so it's going to warn me. But as I add that in, now this has the New South Wales and the promo. I could add in any other tag, and there's no limitations on what you want to put in there. So that's the first way, by adding them one at a time on each screen. And perhaps once you add a new screen in, if all your tags are already set up, this could be the quick way to do it. The second way, under settings, we have a new tagging tag at the back over here. And this is where you'll see on the left all of the tags that you've previously created, when they were created, whether they're in use, and you can either create or delete any of the tags that exist, and then any of the screens on the account and which tags they have. So think of this section in the settings as your tag management section, where you can go through and quickly add or remove tags from multiple screens or manage your tags in the back end. So the benefit of doing this is you can see all your screens over here. And again, I've conveniently named all my screens, but let's say we had all of our Queensland screens and I wanted to add tags to them. I could either do it by clicking on it and pressing tags again, or I could tick on these 2 screens and then we have add and remove tags up here. So these ones don't currently have the Queensland tag. So I click on add, come here and type QLD, add that tag. Again, it's been used previously, so that's fine. QLD, in it comes, add that tag in and press add tag. I'll display that on the screens, apply it, and now that tag has been added to those 2 screens. So if you have hundreds of screens and you've got consistent kind of names, you can easily come through and add multiple tags or do them one at a time. I'll do the same for the Victoria one because I removed those before. So add Vic. Again, I've used this tag previously on here. There is a little bug in there. Keep in mind that this was released this week, so if you do find any bugs, please do let us know and we can let the team know and we can get those things fixed. Perfect. So I've added those in, and I think the other one I added was promo. So in here, I've got a bunch of promo screens, so I can tick on the ones that don't have promo. Add tag in, click promo. Of course, I ticked off. Tick on promo and add them in. So now that I've added all my tags, we need to start to refine down and put the tags into the playlist. So if you want to delete some tags as well, they have to be deleted from the screen first, because we don't want to be able to sit in here, say this tag here is used on 200 screens, somebody to come in and press delete, because it would just be too easy to mess up the content that's being displayed on those screens. So when you try to delete this, it'll give you a warning on the next step that's saying you can't delete it. So we'd actually need to tick on here, press the remove tags, find the tag that you want to remove, which would be New South Wales, remove it, and then delete it. So it's just a safeguard to prevent issues with accidentally deleting a tag, which then messes up all the tag rules. I don't think we've got any questions at the moment. I can't see the chat, sorry, let me just open that up. Perfect, no questions. As I said, if there's any questions at any point, please tag them in. So tag management under the settings is where you can do a lot of your management, getting your tags on your screens and adding new tags in. The next step is to use the tag rule builder. So under here, we can create a new playlist, and I'll just call this one tagging test. And in here, you've got your content view, exactly the same as your current content view. So you can go in and start to add in a whole bunch of different content. Actually, I won't do that one, but that's fine. Add in all your content from your playlist, your manage section in here. And it builds that content exactly the same as your current playlist would. You'll notice up here in the top left, we have a tagging view. So this is what's been added. Tagging view now goes to this separate view, which allows you to start building your tag rules or assign screens to this playlist. So in this current state, we haven't published the screen, we haven't saved the screen yet. We can assign screens here, and this basically just allows us to see the outcome of our tag rules. So let's say I've assigned a few of these screens in here. You can also assign screen groups at the same time, which I won't do in this case, but I'll show that in a second. I've added a few screens in here. This hasn't been published yet, so these screens aren't going to receive any of these content updates, but I can start to see the outcome of my tag rules as I start to build this. So this one here, for example, again, I've conveniently named my design to be exactly what I want it to be, but this one is only applying to any screen with a promo tag. So as I build my tag rule, it brings up this tag rule builder in here that says, I want to show the content on the screens if all of the below conditions are true. So we've simplified this by selecting the first one, which we think most customers will use, which is the screen must include all of these tags, but you do have the option to choose screen includes at least one of. So think of this as an and operator as well as an or operator. So it could be any one of these, or it must be all of these. And then we've added in excludes all of and excludes each one of, at least one of. So this gives you a lot of granular control over exactly how you want this content to appear. So let's just leave it as this and say, for this promo, I want the screen must include the promo tag. So you'll see on the right, it's refined down this list to show, okay, these are the two screens which I've assigned, but I haven't published, which match this tag rule. So you can see, yep, I agree that this has got the promo, this is where it should be. But if you said, well, maybe that's not correct, maybe I need to add something else in, you could say, okay, I actually want this to be on Queensland, for example. You could do it that way, and then it must match those tag rules as well. So we say promo, I'll leave that as is. Up here in the top, you'll also see that there's other screens. So playing in the current playlist are the ones that I've either assigned or that this playlist is already published to, but we do have other screens. So this is any other screens that exist on the account, which also match this tag rule. So I could look in here and say, actually, yeah, this screen is supposed to be assigned to this playlist. So I can click on it and say assign to the current playlist. And now I have 3 screens which match this. So I can bring this one in as well and say, yep, this is how I want my content to appear. So it's just a handy way to see not only what you've applied to this playlist, but also anything on the account that matches it. Great, so now you'll see this tag rule has changed, and now you can see that there is a tag rule applying. We do have a key up here as to what the colors mean, and as we add different rules, you'll see that changes, but the tag must match the promo tag. So I can click on matches here, and it will refine down the list of screens to say which screens match this tag rule. Or likewise over here, I could go backwards and say, well, what's playing on my Queensland promo screen? And if I click on this, it'll refine down the list over here. That'll make a bit more sense once we add a few more tags in. So from here, I'm going to delete this one, but this next rule is New South Wales or Queensland. So in here, I'd come in and create a new rule that says the screen must include at least one of New South Wales and Queensland. So now this is an or operator. So if the screen has either New South Wales or Queensland, it will play. So I'll apply and exit that. This is the same again, where it's at least, or it must have Queensland or New South Wales or Victoria, and so on. So now we can start to see the power of the tag rule builder in picking and choosing screens on the fly. This one is going to be a little bit more specific, where it matches the same rule that's above. And a quick way that I can showcase another feature as well is we can copy. So I can copy the tag rules to here, and then I can paste the tag rules as well down here, which will apply that to the tags that sit below it. But now I could edit this on the fly because the tag rule is New South Wales or Queensland or Victoria, but it must also be a promo screen. So if I come in here, I add a new condition that says it must also include promo. So now we've refined this down so it's saying a New South Wales promo, a Queensland promo, or a Victoria promo. That rule will now apply. Using the excludes, we could say all but not a promo screen. So in here, instead of saying includes, I could say it must exclude the promo tag. So again, same rule set. It's going to just look for any screen that doesn't have the promo tag and then apply it to all of those. So you can kind of do it both ways. So if you have lots and lots of tags and you say, well, I'm going to put a tag on there that says promo, I don't want to play any promo screen, but everywhere else, you can do that. Now, if you want a piece of content to play everywhere, you just don't build a tag. So this piece of content applies to all screens. So we just don't build a tag rule, because the idea of the tag rule is it's limiting the screens that apply to that piece of content. By default, if we were to just publish this without any tag rules, then obviously all of this content applies to all of the screens that we applied, but we just use this tag rule builder to say, well, no, only play this piece on this one and this piece on that one. So just leave it as is if you don't want it to be refined down. You could do the same across all of these and start refining your content down. So this one, for example, it must include Victoria, must be portrait, for example. Now, it's important to note as well, you do need to set up your tags on the screens first, because this rule builder will only look and see what tags exist. So I can't create a brand new tag in here. It has to come from an existing screen. New South Wales, for example. So now, once I've set up a bunch of these tag rules, just keep it quite simple. You can see the matches in this column. So how many screens match this piece of content? I can click on this and say, yep, one screen. Or likewise, you can go backwards and say, okay, show me what's now going to be playing on my Victoria screen. If I click on this, it refines it down to every rule set that matches that one specific screen. So very quickly, you can see how you can see each individual playlist that would be applying to the screens in real time and make any changes and adjustments on the fly. When you're ready, you can preview. And up here, you've got the option to preview all of your content, or you could just preview it for a very specific screen. So Queensland promo screen, you can see what that content's going to look like and cycle through. So it's just a quick way to double check that the content you want applied to those screens is actually in fact being applied. One thing I can show as well, you could add a playlist in exactly the same way that you would normally add a nested playlist in, and you can apply a tag rule to the entire playlist. So this promo one contains its own subset of content, which has got the promo content in it. We can build a tag rule that says it must include the promo tag exactly as you would any other piece of content, keeping in mind that we ignore any other tag rules that are set within that individual playlist. So if you have tag rules set in here, we're going to ignore those just because of the complexity in filtering at this stage. It's something we may look at in the future. This then just gets applied to that entire tag rule set. Perfect. Then when you're ready, you can hit save and publish. Exactly the same modal in terms of being distributed to the screen. When I hit save and publish, these screens will all be updated with that content, but it's sending its own unique subset of content to each of those screens. So think of it like its own virtual playlist. We're saying this screen only gets these 6. We create its own playlist and send it out, but for your purposes, you only see the one. Any questions so far before I get onto the screen grouping side of it? Perfect. The other thing that we can do is you can obviously use screen groups. So let's say you had menu screens, you put them all together, screen 1, screen 2, screen 3, and each of these menu boards have different content requirements on them. Well, you can build a playlist in exactly the same way. We could just call it menu screens. You would add your content in for screen 1, 2, and 3. And instead of having to create a separate playlist for each, as we said before, I could just say, well, the screen must have screen 1 on it for screen 1, screen 2 on it for screen 2, and screen 3 on it for screen 3. So now instead of creating 3 separate playlists, you can just use the one, save and publish, and I can either assign this directly to the screen group here, or I can use my assign screen groups and add that in if I want to check exactly how the content needs to be displayed. But you see each of these screens is only going to be displaying the one file that's associated with it. Let's say you had another one that you wanted to play on all at the same time. I could do that as well. Add in all. No tag group, no tag rule on that. So now you'll see screen 3 and all, screen 1 and all, and screen 2 and all, exactly the same. Save and publish, it's going to apply that content. and out it goes. So that's pretty much the high level of tagging. Obviously, you're not restricted to geographic locations or screens. It really could be anything. It could be landscape or portrait. It could be a resolution. It could be internal, external. It could be facing, customer facing, behind the scenes. Really, you have the freedom to choose those tags and the tag rules that you see fit. Any questions? Does anybody have any questions, thoughts, feedback? Have you had a chance to play with it or experienced any bugs? Because no doubt there will be some. If there are any questions, feel free to stick around at the end, but that is the high-level Fusion Signage tagging system overview. We are more than happy to run through specific one-on-one demos or just help you guys with the sales process as our resellers if you want us to come in and help you set that up or do demonstrations for any of your customers. But thank you so much again for your ongoing and continued support of the Fusion Signage platform. We love each and every one of you for supporting us. Please stick around at the end if you have any questions that you want to take offline. But otherwise, thank you for joining. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll speak to you soon.